All right, guys, welcome to the Bone Maniac podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Kelderman.
And I'm the Maniac, and here, guys, we're going to bring you from field to audio our firsthand experiences, not only with our partners, but just everyday life that we're going to be doing out here hunting. Hey, guys, here we are today with the owner of Trophy Treestands, Tony Overbaugh. It's such a pleasure to have you on today, Tony, and we've been with you for a brief time, but let's just get right into the meat and potatoes of, how did Trophy Treestands come about?
Well, sure. Thanks for the introduction. Trophy Treestands was a long time in the making. I started in the tree stand business, I guess you would say, back in 2001. And, I developed a company called X-Stand. And I had patented the world's lightest climber, and started from there. It started. I just wanted to make a tree stand that I would use personally. So I hunted in the mountains. I grew up in West Virginia, so we had to climb a lot of mountains and things. So having a lightweight climber was important. So that's kind of how it all started. And as other people saw it, they wanted one, and so forth. It's your typical business that you hear about. That the demand started to grow, and I just went ahead and turned it into a business. And I initially thought I could just sell my patent and move on, but that didn't really happen. A lot of the companies in the industry pretty much do their own thing, so I turned it into a company and started selling climbers. And, over the years it grew. I quit my other job and just did that full time, and then over time, it grew and grew and grew. We started doing the ATA shows and started getting more and more dealers, and a lot of different things happened. And then I ended up selling that company because another company finally took notice and they offered to buy it. So went in and sold them the company. And in the process of doing that, they asked me if I would stay on and be their VP of development. So I did that. I stayed on and developed more products for them, and kept things going on that side. And I did that for about 4.5 years or something like that. And then finally, I just decided that I wanted to move on and do something else. So I left that company, and it wasn't just, I wasn't out of there very long at all. And I was approached by some folks who wanted me to run a company, to start all this stuff up and do a new tree stand company. So I thought, well, I know tree stands, that's what I do, so why not? So that's how Trophy came about.
Well, and having said that, I mean, I remember, seeing X stands everywhere. I mean, it was a commodity, it's like everywhere. You're like, you see them in Walmart, you see them everywhere, and that was a big thing, is seeing, some high end tree stands that people could actually afford. And now, you're right here with your own company again, doing the exact same things. But I mean, I know you want to hear it, but it's like nobody else wants to say, like, your tree stands are like killer compared to the X stands. Like is that the innovation that you bring, to the hunters, as being, I guess I should say, as like an expert in building tree stands, because for one, you got some outstanding features on the Trophy tree stands that really a lot of the competition don't have, right?
Yeah, that is true. I did design and develop and patented the jaw system. And the jaw system is a system made for ladder stands, because safety has always been my number one concern. When I was building my own stands for myself, all the way up through the other company, all the way up until now, I just know that safety is the number one thing. And believe it or not, I designed and developed tree stands and have for years, but I'm a little bit afraid of heights. I just feel uneasy at height. So every time I develop or design something, it has to be rock solid. It has to just be stuck to that tree so I can feel comfortable and relaxed and actually enjoy the hunt. So that's how the jaw system came about, because I saw I was a climber guy for years, and I started getting into ladder stands. And I saw that, okay, well, what's wrong with ladder stands? Wow. And I realized that it was putting them up and taking them down. I looked at some statistics and found out that that's when most people get injured, is putting them up and taking them down. So I thought, how can I prevent that? So I went to the drawing board, and I developed the original jaw system, which clamps the tree while you're still standing on the ground. So you can pull these cables down, attach them, and then use a ratchet strap to tighten them. And as you do, it causes the jaws to clamp around the tree. And so that holds the stand in place. It's ours.
You got that patent. Right.
Yeah, and then what I did with Trophy was actually took it one step further, and now our jaw system is even better. And on top of that, I introduced the draw-tight cable system, which the draw-tight cable system does the same thing. It attaches your ladder stand from the ground. It's just a different system, and we are the only one that has that in the industry.
Well, yeah. And then going back to, like, just say the timeline of tree stands, so and I'll show my age, and Tony, you and I aren't too far apart on age, but it's I'm sure you remember the Baker tree stand. I don't know how many times that, I remember when my dad first brought that piece of junk home, he's like, son, I got a new tree stand, and he's super excited about it. I remember him climbing a tree, and I'm almost today, I'll have to ask him, but it was a pine, and that thing scun him up so bad he never wanted to be in a tree stand again. I mean, he really did not. And I was young then, I wasn't able to climb it, but I remember that Baker tree stand because it always sat in the garage. And then finally, when I got an early teenager, we tried it out, or I tried it out, and I hunted out of it. But you're right. It was, I think, from what you had said, I'll iterate on that too, is I think everyone that's in a tree, there is some type of things that just float around in the mind, is like, is it safe? And you hear about it all the time. It's like, things happen. I mean, we have a family member that is paralyzed now because of falling out of a tree stand. And you're absolutely correct. Those statistics don't lie. It's setting the tree stand up and taking them down, and that safety feature of the jaws is it's perfect. I mean, that's no other way to say it. It's like,
I'll chime in there. I've used both. I've used the newer jaw system, and awesome luck with that. And I've also used the other one, and I've also fallen putting a tree stand up. So it that one hits close to home for me. I was lucky enough. I just kind of landed flat on my back and didn't do anything too terrible besides some cuts and stuff. But I've definitely been on both ends of what you're talking about.
Prone.
Well, that too.
You're accident prone, though.
Yeah.
Tony, we got to talk about some stories with Ethan about how he is, okay? But we won't get on the air. We won't get off subject of what we're here to inform folks about tree stands with Trophy tree stands today. But this kid is accident prone.
Well, that's something. If you're in the industry anytime at all, you're going to hear story after story of individuals who maybe actually fell. Some just had close falls. Some were saved by their harnesses. More and more people are wearing harnesses nowadays. That's one of the things that the TMA has really promoted, is the use of harnesses and other safety type devices, which they're relatively inexpensive and they're not hard to use. So more and more people are wising up, and it was the hardest ones to convince were the ones in the early days when they thought they were invincible and things like that. They were using a Baker.
Yeah.
And, but over time, hunters have become more educated, and that's part of what we do, is we try to educate everyone. We try to make sure that everything we do is geared towards safety. Because the hunting should be fun. I mean, there's always a little bit of danger in every sport you do. Doesn't matter if it's soccer. You look at the statistics on injuries in soccer, it's huge. It doesn't matter if it's baseball or football or hunting. There's always an element of danger. That's what makes it kind of exciting. But if you can mitigate that danger by just making a few smart choices, like wearing your harness, using a jaw system to clamp your stand to the tree before you go up. And the other thing is we spend a lot of time writing these manuals for the stand and for the harness and everything. And if you just follow them, it's really not that hard. If we say have 3 people to install this stand, maybe you don't want guys to know where your hunting spot is, but it's best to have 3 people to install that stand. That's just the safest way to do it.
Well, yeah, it's really, when it comes down to an injury that could mean either being paralyzed or even death, because it can happen. I mean, that's the facts and the reality behind it. It doesn't really matter about if your buddy knows where your secret spot is. It's like, it's all about safety, or take somebody in that doesn't hunt, right? So, it's a simple solution for that.
Yeah, to say, hey, we're going on a nature hike, and by the way, hold this ladder.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Well, this is the world's tallest huckleberry bush.
Yeah. Like the jaw system or the drawn tight cable system or the safety harnesses that can just help eliminate in case somebody does something incorrectly. If you can help prevent an accident by adding one extra layer, it's always good to do that. Like I said, you can't foolproof, you can't make it. But if people follow the instructions and use the provided safety, we have to provide a safety harness with every tree stand we sell. And that's been the norm for years. Every tree stand that comes, when you open the box, you'll not only get a stand, but you'll get a safety harness. And a lot more folks are using them nowadays, and I'm really glad to see that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, we'll just go back to human nature. It's human nature to be bullheaded, and maybe they don't need directions and don't want to follow, protocol, so to speak. It's imperative when you're dealing with things that could prevent an accident. So it's one of those things that you're absolutely correct. Is I think people need to be really informed, and that stress factor should be enforced. With dealing with tree stands.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the things that we're tasked with is to make a good experience for anybody when they go out in the woods. So like I said, safety is the number one thing, right? But then you got to add comfort. People want to be comfortable while they're in their stands. So we have mesh seats on all of our stands and backrests on a lot of models and things like that. And we make them wide. We try to make them solid so that you just feel comfortable, whether it's the feeling of just being solidly attached to the tree or just the absolute comfort of reclining back and taking it easy and just enjoying the outdoors, because hunting is fun. Let's face it. We all do it because it's fun, it's challenging and all that. So why not be comfortable? Why not be safe?
Well, absolutely. And speaking of that, when you have a ton of models to fit, every hunter or every situation, I should say, from the guy that wants to run solo on with the climber sets and lock-ons and double sets and pivoting seats. Like, well, let's just talk about you have a lot of tree stands. How many to be exact?
We've got actually we have two different. I don't want to say companies because they're the same, but we have 2 different lines. We have the Trophy line, and now we've introduced the High View line.
Right.
So the High View line has its own line of stands, and the Trophy line has its own line of stands. Like you said, we have everything from towers to tripods. We have a bunch of different models of double ladder stands for 2 people to use. We have tons of single ladder stands. We also introduced the hybrid. It's a hybrid stand. We call it the Freedom, and it has a V-shaped platform. And it's similar to the feel of hunting out of a hang-on, but it has a ladder attached to it. So you get the benefits of both. It straps to the tree like a hang-on, so if you took the ladder away, it's still going to sit right there and not go anywhere. It's designed for that. And then if you if you stand up to shoot your bow, or if you're sitting down to shoot your bow or crossbow or rifle, it doesn't matter. There's nothing in your way. You have that freedom, that's why we call it that, of shooting in just about any direction. With the V-shaped platform, you can actually shoot behind the tree, and there's no rails to trip over, nothing in your way. So that's really been a big hit for us.
Oh, I can imagine there for that, and having, especially for guys that are self-filming too. And I guess the logic behind that too is you got that safety feature. Now, does that one have the jaw system on it as well for hanging?
The Freedom has the draw tight cable system. The Freedom has the draw tight cable system, and it's hard to explain, but if you go to YouTube, you can see how it works just by looking up Trophy Tree Stands. And we do a demo and they're showing how you can securely wrap a steel cable around the tree while you're still standing on the ground. Now, it's hard to explain, but it works really, really well. And once that cable's around the tree and you hook it to your ratchet strap at the base of the ladder and you tighten it up, now it's completely encircling the tree. The stand can't go anywhere. And then you can climb up and finish your attachment safely. But Trophy also offers what we call the Skyfort. The Skyfort is a lot of people call them quad pods or tower stands or even tripods. The unique thing about it is it has seating for 3 people. So we're the only one in the industry that offers seating for 3 people. It's like a box stand. You can order a roof kit for it. You can order the blind kit and get it all set up completely. But like I said, the cool thing is you're not limited to just one other friend. You can take your 2 kids, you can take your wife and your kid, you can take your best buddy and one of their kids, you can take, you can put 3 people in this stand, and that's safely, and that's one of the things that we offer that nobody else does.
Yeah, and I did check that out, and actually, that's one of them that I put together. I believe it was the Skyfort, was it? Or I might have. Honestly, I got confused a couple of times because the wife asked me, well, which one are we putting up? Because we started doing the videos. And I'm like, I got to go back to the book and look. There's so many of them that you can, that you have to offer, and it's just amazing. And you're right, with the comfort that you're getting with your tree stands. And one of the ones that when I was at the warehouse that I really liked is, and I think it works really well, guys like in Oklahoma, Texas, and where you can get out and shoot a long range, but you need that elevation to get up over the mesquite or the underbrush, was with that the pivoting seat that was up. Like, I seriously think you could take a nap in there. Actually, I would, because I like taking naps anyway when I'm out. But the comfort level of those chairs, I'm not trying to get off subject of that, but to reiterate on the comfort level that you were talking about with the mesh seats, is I think it's like just sitting in a recliner.
Yeah, tree stand technology has came so far. It really has, as far as the comfort and safety. It was stagnant for a number of years with no real innovation, right? And not everybody, but a lot of folks, it was copy this and just make a slight version of that. But over the last few years, there has been a surge with the addition of the jaw system and the draw type cable system and just some of the mesh seats and the comforts and all that. It's definitely came a long ways here lately. So it doesn't matter. We make blind chairs too, and they're the same mesh. And we also do ground blinds. So we try to cover everything at Trophy.
Well, yeah, you have the Alomar. That's my favorite one for and I utilize that thing a lot. And you got enough room in it for 2 people. Cameraman, shoot bow. I mean, I shot deer out of it, with my recurve. So, it's you got enough room for that. Now we're jumping onto the ground blinds that you have, and you got 3 models of those as well, correct?
Yeah, we offer a more premium blind and all the way down to just a more simple spring style blind. And our blinds have a ton of features. That's one thing that we like to do at Trophy is go in, and we don't like to copy other companies' products. I mean, a lot of them look similar to other companies, but we always like to put our own twist on it, whether it's the shape of a window or whether it's the slide ability of a window with no zippers. And then we also have to hit certain price points because some folks, maybe they don't hunt a lot. They just want a little blind to go out and sit with their kid in. And so we offer that. But you have some people who they want all the comfort and every bell and whistle possible. So we offer that too, along with, good innovation like the Alamo blind is our top of the line. It's got the sliding windows, the total blackout covers. It's got everything. And it's a big blind. It's 77 inches wide and 77 inches deep, so it's a big blind. It's a hub style. And then we have the ground fort. So the ground fort's a great blind. It's kind of in the middle of the line there. But one of the neat things, we added shooting ports through the mesh, because you always hear, can I shoot through the mesh? Can I shoot through the mesh? Well, you can, but why take the chance? We just simply put shooting ports in the mesh, so you can shoot. You still have the mesh to give you some blind factor, like to kind of block your silhouette in the blind, but you have a shooting port built right in that you can shoot directly out of. So it's awesome for turkey hunters and people like that. You can just poke a shotgun barrel out the hole and shoot, and almost zero detection.
Right, and I think those are important aspects to put in, and really having that type of engineering in mind is like you want to cover everyone down to the novice to the most experienced hunter that's out there that's going to buy the product.
Yes, and Trophy, we're a full service tree stand and accessory and blind company. We can supply any. If you're a dealer out there and you have a shop, doesn't matter how small it is, doesn't matter how big it is, we're glad to have your business, and we can provide you with stands at pricing that can compete with anyone and features that beat most. That's where we tried to take Trophy, was a place where it could be. Because a lot of these different shops maybe have trouble competing with the bigger neighbor next to them and things like that can buy more in bulk. But if they check out our pricing, we can offer really, really competitive products that will fit in. We have so many stands. We have the simplest F15, we call it. It's actually 16 feet tall, but we named it the F15. It's just a basic ladder stand. It's as basic as it can get, all the way up to like the Mountaineer. It's a 20-foot oval tubing ladder stand with a jaw system and everything. So I think that whether you're just buying online or whether you're a dealer looking for something unique, but yet would fill a line in your category, Trophy would have it.
Well, yeah, and that's something that you mentioned that because you got the two lineup. You got the Trophy line, which it has the powder coat, which is a very attractive stand, I might add, with the brown powder coat. And then you have the High View line. But, to outfitters out there that may be listening to things like that, it's like you have outfitter programs as well as, every program for, say, North 40, Pearl King, and all the companies that you're retailing these to or they're dealers for, so to speak.
Yes, that we do have an outfitter program, and that's one thing that we've done really well is outfitters call us and we give them good pricing and we take care of them because we know that the outfitters see so many clients, and it's always a smart thing to have them in your products. So we do work with outfitters and we appreciate their business tremendously, and most of the outfitters we work with, all of them, are extremely happy, and it's been a really good experience working with outfitters.
Well, and and to the outfitters, like what you're saying is like you got full line product because you got the safety rope, all right down to your harness. So you can outfit them or any hunter with everything needed, that they need to go into the woods safely and come out safely. And setting their tree stands up. So you're right. You have everything down to the gambrel, right? The hanger gear. So what I'm looking for next, Tony, just a little hint, is something to put on the back of your truck.
Well, you're supposed
gear.
Yeah, I think that we do have a very expensive line. You're right. We have everything from hooks that you can, little accessory hooks to to the rubber gloves that you might wear while you're field dressing game, to bow holders, to course safety harnesses, like you mentioned. And what we do is when we look at something like what you just mentioned, what happens with me is I'll take something like that, an idea. Okay, somebody wants something to put on the back of their truck to hang a deer up with, or to haul a deer. Somehow, it's, once we look at the specifications, we don't just go out and find one and copy it basically and say, oh, yeah, it's good enough. At Trophy, we don't do that. We would look at that and we would say, okay, how can we make this better? What does it do well, but what's it lacking? Same way with the tree stands and everything else. And once you figure out what it's lacking in it, then you start to fraction it down and figure out how to improve it, and then we'll bring it up. That's when it would be suitable to be a trophy product.
So my question is, what type of engineering background do you have, Tony? Because you have all these great things. It's like, is this something that you just have that mindset for it, or is this something that, like, this is something that you've always been, and like when you were saying to at the beginning of the show, is like, you stopped your other job and followed right and follow suit into Treestands and now Trophy. Is it always been the engineering? Because like it's the stuff that you come up with and the whole lineup that you have is like, you gotta have a mind for that, right?
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. But to answer your question directly, I do not have an engineering degree. So, if I could inspire anyone out there, if you think you're good at something, just go ahead and do it. Because I don't have an engineering degree, but yet I hold 6 or 7 or 8 patents. I don't even remember now. But a person can do that. If you believe you can do it, you sit down and if you have to do the homework, you have to do your research, you have to be diligent, you have to have a clear path. But it helps to have a mind for it, for sure. But
Sure.
It's one of those things that I would encourage anybody. If you have an idea, protect it, first of all, but then don't be shy. Try to make it happen.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point. And I mean, and really, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters to anything, because you can really be good at it. And like, you hold 6 patents. Well, I know a lot of engineers that don't have any, right? So it doesn't really matter for that point. It's if you believe in yourself and believe in what you can accomplish. I mean, just look. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. The only reason I mentioned that about the patents is I just want to inspire someone who's listening. I've had so many people approach me with these great ideas, and I try to encourage them. I say, look, you can do this. Sometimes you have to invest some money to build a good prototype, and there's some testing involved, and it's just so I'm just trying to basically encourage someone by mentioning that was all. Sure. Well, yeah, and it should be uplifting and encouraging, because I mean, it's I think people sometimes are afraid to just take that step and do it, and I think there's a lot of great minds out there, and I think a lot of I'll just say, for instance, I was talking about in a video the other day is about hunting and coming in and being undetected. And one of the things that we weren't blessed with was great eyesight, great hearing, great sense of smell like the animals were. But what we were blessed with was a mind that is how do I say it? Technologically savvy as we want it to be, because our brain is a huge computer, right? And it doesn't matter, what you hold. It's all about using that brain. I guess in layman's terms, what I'm trying to say is, like, we were gifted with something more powerful than what we were as hunters. It's like trying to beat that animal, because that's what we want to be. We want to be successful out there hunting. So it's, I think one of the most rewarding things,
I enjoy developing products. For me, it's a challenge. I love it. So I get into something and I sit down and I start on the computer and I do the drawings and I work it all the way up through until it's either I believe it's going to be successful or sometimes I've had to scrap them. Right? When you first come to mind, you think, that's a great idea. And then you either realize it's not marketable or it's just not feasible. But one of the most rewarding things is when I see people enjoying the equipment that I design and telling me stories about either how it helped them get a deer or how it helped them stay safe and how they felt comfortable. So when they tell me these stories and I see that the fun that people are having with some of the things that we've developed, that is something that I enjoy. And one thing that happened, I was at a trade show one time, and this guy came up, and it seems a little weird, but he actually said, you invented the jaw system? I don't know if he had something tragic happen or something. He said, can I give you a hug? And I'm like, it's kind of odd, but if you want to. and he gave me a big hug, and he thanked me. But he said, he said, you're going to say, he almost had a tear in his eyes, you're going to save so many lives and prevent so many tragedies with the jaw system, safety system. And, when you see things like that, that is very rewarding and kind of makes it all 100%. Just kind of come full circle.
100%, I agree with that. I do. And the next time I do a post, Tony, I'm going to say, Tony gives free hugs.
Well, okay.
And it's true. It is. That's a gratifying accomplishment. I mean, you can accomplish anything in the world, but when people come up and say that to you, that hits home. It hits home because you feel like you've really impacted people's lives, and you have with that type of technology. That it's a safety issue, and that's what I think everyone wants that self-confidence in, is when they get into a tree stand or when they're doing it. Like, hey, I can do this and not have to worry about it. Because I think a lot of times there's this lack of confidence too can cause accidents.
Oh, absolutely. You have to stand up for a shot and your stand's a little shaky or you're just unsure of it and you're nervous, you can't focus. So yeah, it's definitely much better to have good equipment. And that's one thing I would stress is to anybody listening, especially there's a lot of guys who hunt a lot. There's some guys who hunt just maybe a little bit, but always check your equipment. It can be something that's fun. Just take a little time to go over it and check everything before you use it each time. And make sure it's right. Just like you look at the string on your bow, it starts to get frayed, you go ahead and replace it. You need to replace your straps on your stands and things like that, just to stay safe and to make sure that you're having fun and you have that secure feeling.
I agree, and I think that's a very good point that you make. Is every time you do something, it should be a once over. I know like on my old beater truck, I check the oil in it before I even get in it. I know you don't have to on like new stuff, but like when it comes to a safety issue like that, I think a once over before you go in, especially if you only use it once a year, is you never know what could have happened. In my case, the kids could have ran over it on the four-wheeler and tore the cable off, something like that. So you just never know what could happen. So a good once over before you start, I think, is something I think everybody needs to just take the time and do before they go in for the approach.
Yeah, I mean, or in my case, just go out and spend a little extra money, because I know what got me in that situation I was talking about was that ratchet strap was so frayed, and I knew that it was frayed, but I just didn't want to spend the money. And when that broke, that's when things came tumbling down. But,
yeah, that's a good point. It's worth a couple extra bucks. No, I mean that's kind of like a good point where you were saying with spending the money there. And one point that I want to reiterate, because Tony, there's a couple things that I wanted to wrap up with, is because you do have the two lineups. One's the higher end, but you're not losing any of the features on the high view side of things. You're not losing any of the integrity of the safety. And I think that's an important important thing that people need to understand too. Also,
Yes, that is true. Because what we've done with the Highview line is it has a different color powder coat. So we tried to make the Highview line more appealing from a price standpoint, but we did not, and I repeat, did not sacrifice safety even a minute amount. So it has the same structural integrity that you would find on a trophy product, but the trophy product does have the special blend-in powder coat. And that we took a long time to actually develop that color. We didn't just say, "Oh, make it brown," It took a long time to develop that color, and of course, that powder coat in that color is more expensive than, say, the black or the dark gray that we would use on the Highview line. So we're trying to offer an affordable, even though Trophy is a very affordable line, we thought we could do even better as far as that, and it appeals to a lot of our box stores, really. So our box stores, they want a product line that they can hit certain margins with. So we provide that. Being in the industry a long time, you find these things out and you figure out exactly what you need to build. But again, I think the key is not to make anything that is not as structurally sound as it needs to be. And that's one of the most important things. You can change the color, maybe use a less expensive paint or something like that, but it doesn't affect the integrity. And that's what we try to do.
well, yeah, and that's I think that's a important part that people need to understand is when they do buy something in the box stores, that when they see, the Highview line, they know that they're getting the same integrity as far as that's concerned. And I might add that I really like that collar on the Trophy, the brown. I think in the fall color, especially in deciduous, like it blends in so great. I think it's just a good looking collar. I just can't say nothing about it.
And I've got a question for you. As a traditional archery hunter, how have you found that the modern tree stands work? When you're in a traditional hunting situation, your bow's longer. It's a different shooting form. What have you found that you like about modern tree stands and maybe even just trophy stands?
Well, and then you make a good point, especially for traditional guys, is you need room, because you're not going to be able to maneuver a compound around like you can a 65-inch recurve, and the things that I would used to do before again linked up with you guys is, a lot of the safety features is, having the rail around. I don't like the rail, but I do religiously put on my safety harness. That's a necessity, right? So I would immediately take that off. But I also, with the new situations of tree stands, is the platform. I felt like the platforms before. I mean, I know you could get larger platforms, but I felt like it was like a specialty thing that you really had. Like one tree stand company offered a platform that I felt like I could lean out to get my shot. So I felt like that was always a challenge for me is being able to run through my scenarios. Well, what if he comes this way, and have the room, and having like with the Explorer with the lock on. I really like lock ons because I feel like I can put those in a position that is going to give me how I want the scenario, or how I feel like maybe I need to put if there's only one tree in one area, I needed to put that lock on at this location. It might not be my exact height, but it just worked out better for me, and I'm completely different, I think, than a lot of the other people, because they're like, well, why don't you just do this? I'm like, well, it's not how my brain works, or it's not how I want to manipulate the situation.
And the reason I asked that question, was to lead into this, is that one thing that we did at Trophy is we took into account how there are a lot of hunters who hunt a different way. In other words, you like traditional equipment. A lot of people like traditional equipment. Some people like crossbows. Some people like regular compounds. So the majority of our stands, you can actually remove the shooting rail and the armrest if you don't want anything around you. That's on our ladder stands as well. You can, not just our hang-ons, but on our hang-ons and our ladder stands, if they don't come with a shooting rail and armrest, they're already pre-drilled, and you can order them from us and put them on. So let's say you hunt with a compound, right? And you don't need a shooting rail, and you don't really care for it doesn't matter about the armrest either way. But then you decide you're going to hunt with a crossbow, or somebody wants to hunt with a crossbow that has that stand. They can just simply call us up, order a shooting rail, and it bolts right on. It's made for the stand. The stand is made for it, so it's not like you're just an add-on that maybe works, maybe it doesn't. So that's one of the really neat things about our lineup is we thought that through. We thought, okay, not everybody does everything the same way, so we want to accommodate everybody. But why have an individual that will never use a shooting rail buy and pay for one, right? He doesn't need it.
Right.
But if he ever gets to the point where he wants a shooting rail, he can just simply call us and buy it at that point.
Well, yeah, and those are all good features, and I like that capability of being able to, because sometimes I'll put my armrest up, and you have that capability of buying those with you guys. Sometimes I put them up. I personally, all around, I like the armrest. Like I said, is like I know I don't encourage people to do this, but I feel at peace when I'm in a tree stand, and I'm locked in. But I feel like I can get the best sleep in the world when I am out there and don't have a care in the world. So I like armrests, and I know a lot of people say that, and you make a good point, because I am pretty, I'll just say oddball on how I do things.
Yeah, this guy, last time I was hunting with him, I don't know what we were hunting, bear, and those are 10, 12-hour sits sometimes because it's, summer and it's daylight, and he falls asleep, and I got to entertain myself for forever, and I can't sleep in a blind, but, I guess to each their own.
I snore. So. I snore like a bear, so I can't fall asleep, or there'd be no game in the woods. But like I said, Trophy, everything we do at Trophy, we try to think it through. Now, obviously, we might not get everything 100%, but we really try to think through what the hunters want and what's the most value for them. And that's how we came up with that concept of, okay, we even had people ask, why do you have a shooting rail and armrest on this hang-on stand? Well, we showed them, okay, if you don't like that owner, you can take it off. But let's say, somebody that you're going to let hunt the stand or whatever shoots a crossbow or a rifle. Maybe when rifle season comes, you want to put that shooting rail on there. It gives you the option, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So it's just more versatile, and it makes it just a better value for the customer. Well,
absolutely, and I think that's the perfect word to use, is being versatile, because you don't know every situation that you're going to be in, or every scenario that you're going to be in the woods. And I think a lot of that has to do with just being able to have experience under your belt and knowing what to expect, or trying to play a scenario over in your head of like what you may need or what you may not need, and having those options, I think, are key in the newer age technology for tree stands. I guess that's, to answer, to be proficient about how I should have answered your question. Because I do have people ask me sometimes, they're like, Shane, what's going on up here? And I'm like, well, I only have one opening, and I feel like this is the only place I'm going to be able to shoot him. And I think a lot of times with experienced hunters is you want to manipulate that animal to do what you want it to do. And, whether you're using scents or whatever. And I like to use scents a lot, mock scrapes or scents with elk is being able to call in a direction so he comes in the other direction, or same way with turkey. So, and I think things through that way. I may not think them through on a lot of things in life, but when it comes to hunting, I do. But it's a unique situation for me in the woods, and a lot of times when I take young hunters or something, and they're like, this is not how my dad. And I'm like, but did you kill the animal? And they're like, yep. So
Yeah.
it works for me, and I don't want to discourage people. Like, you know, and I know your point is like, yeah, you want to have the options, but I think, you know, that's the best that I can answer the question about trophy is that you have options. You have options for everyone, and that's what I think is like the keys to success for owning and working with trophy tree stands is that you have something for everyone or multiple hunters. It's there with your lineup, and I think that's very important.
And, you know, really, at the end of the day, it's a business and it's got to make money. But like I said before, it's just so rewarding just seeing people, you know, people for your products, or you turn on, or you see social media and somebody's using your products and they go out of their way to talk about it and how great it was. And you're not paying them a dime. You're not doing anything. You're just, these are happy customers. And that's just a fun thing to do. So I have to say, there's no way I can complain about my job because it's rewarding in just about every aspect. I mean, you know, when you're running a company, you have some stress, but it's still just one of those rewarding things when you get to be in the industry. You go to the ATA shows, you go to these all the regular trade shows, and you meet so many people. It's just I couldn't think of a better industry to be in, and then just to get to be in this industry, I feel extremely blessed and to be able to make products that people love just as like the icing on the cake.
Oh, and I agree. And it's like, you know, and you get those reports of like, hey, I killed my first deer out of your tree stand or you know, just things like that. It's like, those are the gratifications that we live for. And it's I think it's, when it comes down at the end of the day, there's no money on earth that could satisfy you like that kind of gratitude.
Oh yeah, and it's like when I take people hunting on some of our properties, where we're set up the trophy tree stands and all. I don't tell them, well, you can't shoot this and you can't shoot that. When we go to these properties, I say, if you feel like taking that animal, if it's a legal animal, you take it. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to take pictures and we're going to be happy because those are the things that, to me, hunting is fun. It should be fun. Now, to some people, it's a serious sport. There's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with taking something serious and really going after it with everything you got. But at the end of the day, I believe you need to have fun. So we try to promote that at every chance I get. And
I agree 100%.
shooting a spike, if a guy's shooting a spike that never gets to go out and hunt that much, makes him as happy, and he's grinning from ear to ear, or her, or kid, whoever, me, shoot, doesn't matter. That to me is what it's all about.
I agree 100%. That was the first deer I ever killed was a spike. So it's like I would be just as happy killing a spike as I am killing 140-inch buck. Well, maybe not. But I understand completely what you're saying. I mean, I'm not known for a trophy hunter. I'm known for killing tags, and that's what makes me happy. And
again, I'm not criticizing that at all. I'm not criticizing that at all. I think if you set your goals to take the biggest buck in the woods, and that's your goal, and once you accomplish it, you're extremely happy, then yay, that's what I think everybody should be able to set their own goals and do what they want. And, we're just going to keep providing good equipment, safe equipment, and making them more comfortable no matter what they're after.
Well, that's awesome, Tony, and I agree with you 100% on that. And, I kind of want to end things on that because it's such a solid note to reach out to everyone, and everyone can find you over at trophytreestands.com. You can find you on Facebook and Instagram and over on YouTube. And I'm sure, and I know you are, you got some new stuff coming out. You got your hands in a couple other businesses that are in the industry, and we're definitely going to have to be chatting. And I know that people want to hear about those products as well, because it's just like with trophy tree stands. It's for the serious guy. It's for the weekend guy. It's for everyone. You have something for everyone. And the price margin is for something that everyday working class people can afford. And that's important, because middle America, I feel, and I think everybody else feels, is like, well, that's what drives this country, and we're the people that need to take care of one another.
Yes, sir. I say stay safe and have fun, and hunt the way you want to hunt.
100%. Tony, it's a pleasure as always. And too bad we couldn't did this podcast in person when I was there at your shop. You're located right in Winchester, Virginia, and I know Wayne's there at the warehouse all the time, and you guys answer the phone, take questions, answer anything that people may have, and you guys got a hell of a product, and I'm happy to be on board with you.
Well, we really appreciate you, Shane, and what all that you do, because you're the type of guy we want to be associated with. And then honestly, when I say that, as you know, when I run Trophy, I get approached by a lot of people. A lot of people want to promote our products. A lot of people want to do things. But if you haven't noticed, we're really picky and choosy about who we work with. And it's just one of those things that I have to see something in a person that will reflect the values of what we try to push. And you mentioned Wayne a minute ago. So if anybody calls in to our phone number or messages us, you'll probably end up talking to Wayne. And the reason he's in that position is because he's the guy. He's the guy that's the best for that position. And he's definitely great to talk to, very knowledgeable, knows our product inside and out. So, it's a whole big circle that you try to put together. You try to surround yourself with the best people, and the best will come out.
I agree 100%, and I'm always been a firm believer of success breeds success, and that's what I strive for every day. It's just what's in me, and I know we see eye to eye on that same concept, and so does Wayne, and even with people I talk to with Wayne, it's like he's very well spoken and very knowledgeable, and he's there to talk to you and talk your head off. So be prepared.
Yeah, just don't tie him up too long. I need him to work.
That's right. There you go. Well, great, Tony. Once again, it's a pleasure, and we'll be back on soon. And I know we got a lot of success stories to talk about here coming up. And one thing that I do want everyone that's listening is we're about to do we'll talk about that real quick before we get off here. We're going to be doing a giveaway. So for 7 days, we're going to be giving away a trophy product each day for 7 days. And we'll be having that video out there posted on the Bone Maniacs side, the Afterlife side, and over on Tracy Treestand side as well. And so this is going to be something that I think everyone should be a part of and want, because it's about time to start getting those sets ready, don't you think?
Yeah, a chance to win something 7 times in a row is not bad.
No, and that's everybody should see the generosity that you have there too in giving away the product, and you guys done some awesome things here with giving away over the past spring and summer that I've seen, and we're going to keep up the pace and going right into fall.
All right.
Okay, Tony. Well, you take care, and we'll be in touch. And one thing we should tell Ethan, though, before we go is we'll talk about that on the next one. He's pretty accident prone, so we need to tell him to be especially safe.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate the time.
You bet. All right, Tony. You take care.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, thanks, and have a good day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hey guys, you can find us over on social media, on IG, on Bone Maniacs. You can find us on Facebook, Bone Maniacs, bonemaniacs.com, and over on Waypoint TV and Taking Aim on Tuesday nights from 8 to 11.